Hey Truth Seekers, this is Carolyn Weisskopf, and I'm going to be doing a deck profile of our newly created Mono Holy Spirit deck.
For Series 2.
Yes, cross trainers. So we're going to start off with Simon, as he is going to be the Truth Seeker that works best with kind of the strategy that we're using with this deck, because we have a lot of growth stages in the deck, so Simon is our obvious choice for that. So we're going to leave him up here. Obviously, since we're running Mono Holy Spirit, we're going to be running Holy Spirit power cards. And we have 4 of those, 5 including the Truth Seeker, and then we have 3 fasting. Because even though we are running a mono-colored deck, there are quite a few of the Holy Spirit cards that cost multiple universal with that. So we got those going on here. We're going to start off with a singular Raspberry. There's not a lot of draw power for power cards in this deck, so Raspberry's action really helps us see if we can get some extra power there for us. So we are going to go with 3 Draylight level 1, which is a 1 for 2, and we have 3 Draylight level 2, which is a 2 for 7. And then we have 3 of our Draylight level 3, which is a 3 for 13. However, it also gets us a, we can search our deck for any card. So that's really helpful to either get power cards, story cards, other things that we may need. We have 3 level 1 Manti. And then we have 3 level 2 Manti. He's one of the ways that we're going to be getting power in this particular deck. We have 2 Floraline level 1 and 2 Floraline level 2 for their ability of facing a Cine and no activation cost. Otherwise, it is a 2 for 8, which is still really good. We have 3, we only run 2. 2 level 1 Fuzzworm. We have 2 level 2 Fuzzworm, which specifically we're going to be using these for their ability that allows us extra draw power, which is huge in this deck. And then we have 1 level 3, which is going to let us search for an equipment card and attach it to an Animo in our small group. So this one is really helpful to either go back. If we have both of these level 2 Fuzzworms out there, we can use this one, grow one of them, go get an equipment card, and then the next turn we can use that for draw power, or we could also use it to go, say, get like the Sword of the Spirit and add it to like our Draylight or something like that to get us extra points. We have 2 Raspberry Ultra for the just mainly the point cost and to just have an Ultra in the deck. We have 2 of our True Blues just to go back and get other cards that we may need. And then we have our Servitude to have as extra draw power. Basically, we run these in just about every single deck. So we run those. Obviously, we don't have the power that we can actually use to pay for them, though. For our Cines, we have Screeny. May not use their True Seeker ability while the Cine remains active. We have Zapper King, which your opponent may not play any level 1 Animo. Corruptera, which, as long as this card remains in your opponent's active Cine, they can't attach any equipment cards, which this one would be terrible against this deck, but it also is pretty rough against some of the other ones. We have Detestable, must discard one of the equipment cards that are in play. We have Kroggle, which they may not retrieve any cards from their discard pile, which is really effective against Nathaniel's play strategy. Scoffish, no Faith Animo on their next turn. Tollcrow, just because he's big. And we have our Scorch Mega for our Mega. So we have our 3 Ultra and Megas. We have 1 copy of Paul's Chains. This one is really good to attach to like Servitude because we don't necessarily want to discard this one to draw because he is a consistent drawer of Animo specifically, and we can search for whichever one it is. We have Peter's Sandals, which he is more of a discard card, but I don't actually use him for that. We're using him more for the discard ability for Fuzzworm to be able to draw. We have 3 Sword of the Spirit. These can be used as draw power with Fuzzworm level 2, or we can use them to simply get 3 extra points on a particular animal. We have the Helmet of Salvation. Again, don't really use it for its actual ability. We just use it to, use Fuzzworm's ability for draw power. Same kind of with the Shoes of the Gospel. However, these we can also use to see if there's any extra power, which is very helpful because, again, this deck doesn't really have a lot of draw power in regards to power cards themselves. We have 2 Bible Study Holy Spirit for obvious reasons. We want to be able to go get various Bible Holy Spirit animal. We have a Snakebit. We originally had 2, but we decided to remove one. Snakebit allows you to go and pick any 4 cards from the deck and place them in your hand, but you forfeit your score phase for that turn. So this helps you get set up for your next turn. This one is really, really helpful early game, not as helpful later on. We have 2 Ascension. Because there are a lot of growth stages in this particular deck, this allows us to skip a growth stage, which is super helpful. Because with Simon's ability, for example, if you were to gather a level 3, then you could use Simon's ability, go get your level 2, and then use this one to skip your level 1, which is, or, if you have the level 1 and the level 3, using like Paul's Chains to go get your level 1, you could use Ascension to skip your level 2. Various reasons for that, but it's super helpful when you have a lot of growth stages. And then finally, we have Answered Prayers. Looking at the bottom 5 cards of your deck, put 1 in your hand and return the rest to the bottom in any order that you desire. This is super helpful for looking for power cards, looking for other equipment cards that you may want, looking for certain animo. Just super helpful in this regard. So yeah, that is our Mono Holy Spirit deck profile, specifically ranging around our Draylight level 3 and more in reality our Fuzzworm level 2, but our Fuzzworm and Draylight over here. So that's kind of what this deck revolves around. All right.
All right, in the meantime, Truth Seekers, keep learning virtues and defeating sinners.